do you think the Magic, like I said, in the regular season so far, they have a pretty good record? I know they're top 3 in the East. I'm not looking exactly at their record, but I know they're top 3 or 4 in the East. They have a pretty good record. And the Pacers played in the championship of the in-season tournament. So do y'all think both of those teams are legit? What you think, Ray?
It depends on what you mean by legit, right?
So legit meaning they can go to the playoffs and win a playoff series.
No,
that's what we're gonna classify legit.
If that's what we're classifying as legit, then no. And it's just by virtue of who's there and who's standing in their way, right? If you're asking me, like, because to win a playoff series in the Eastern Conference, right, you have to beat Boston, Milwaukee, Philly, Cleveland, Miami. You got to beat one of them. And I don't think either one of those teams.
So you don't think Indiana could beat Cleveland or Philly, or what was the other team you said?
Miami. I think their best shot is probably Cleveland. Like, I think by the time the season's over, right, if things shake out the way that I think they will, we're going to be looking at Boston, Milwaukee, Philly, and Miami, right? Like, that's what I think in the Eastern Conference, right? I think if they get lucky, kind of like the year that Atlanta went to the Eastern Conference Finals, they got a good first round draw on a team like New York. They wind up in the 4 or 5 slot. You get Miami coming out the 8 seed that year, right? Or last year, Miami came out the 8 seed. Like, you get a team like that that's better than their record, and you can get a favorable matchup. But like, if you have to face one of those teams that are really like again, Boston and Milwaukee, and you're not beating any of those guys. So your best chance for an Orlando or Indiana would be 1, to face each other, or 2, to get Cleveland. Right, that would be their best bet to win a series. And even then, I don't think they're better than them. The Lakers just gave everybody the blueprint. Cut the head off the snake. You want to beat Indiana? Don't let Halliburton get off. That's the key, right? And you kept hearing talking about through the game. Put your track shoes on. The Pacers want to run. They don't play no defense. They don't give up 130. They just want to score 140. So the Pacers are a piece away. You need somebody else, man. Like, if you go. If Halliburton's not hot, if Halliburton's not going to give me 28, 29 tonight, who's going to? Nobody. You got Buddy Hield, who, right? And the Magic, I think this is just fool's gold. We talked about the Timberwolves on another show where it was like, sometimes you got to believe what you're seeing. But the Timberwolves have everything. And I think in basketball, it's all built on star power. You got to have a superstar to win in this league. I was talking earlier, right? You look at the lineage of basketball. Superstars win, from Magic to Bird to Mike to Kobe, to Shaq, to Tim Duncan, to Dirk, to LeBron, to Wade, Steph, you have to have a superstar. Orlando don't even have nobody that I go, he got superstar. Like, I think Paolo Banchero had superstar potential. Like, I think he's a really good player, gonna make some all-star teams, may make an all-NBA here and there. He doesn't have superstar potential to me. So they're a team full of guys that are just really, really good players, right? Him, the Wagner brothers, but I don't see it. You get into a playoff series, you need a guy that can stop a run when the other teams go 12 in a row. Just give me the ball and get out the way. That's your LeBron. That's your Jokers. That's your Steph. That's your KD. That's your Embiid, your Tatum. You know what I mean? Your Dame Lillard for Milwaukee now. That's why they went and got him. Orlando don't have a guy like that I feel is just like so unstoppable. You can give them the ball and say, get out the way. So, I mean, good on them. It's good for their fan base. It's good for the league when teams that you didn't expect to be good are playing better. But no, Orlando, no.
What you got, Rob?
This is a tough question, because I'm forced to think about, when you say they're legit, I'm thinking league wide, but then I'm forced to think in a microscopic kind of way, and the fact that they are in the East. And if we look right now, they're sitting at number 2, and we have to understand that their potential teams that they will be playing against, if they went to the playoffs today, would be 7 through 10. You got the New York Knicks, who, are a damsel in distress. Brooklyn Nets, who don't have, like you said, to your credit, a star player, but they also don't have home court advantage. Yeah, Miami, they're dogs, so they're always a dog in the fight. And then you got Atlanta Hawks. So when you say if the criteria is them winning a playoff series, if the playoffs started today and that was the matchups, I think the Magic could beat somebody in the 7 through 10 range if they're ranked number 2. Equally, I love the experience that Indiana got. I understand that they saw the Lakers exposed, like you said, they double team Halliburton and no one else got off. And I'm absolutely disappointed in a team like Indiana. Not that they lost per se. I'm not worried about that. I wanted them to lose in terms of me and a Lakers fan, regardless. So I'm not worried about that. But what I will say is, Buddy Hield, where were you at? Think you had 9? You know what I mean? And you're the bona fide shooter. Miles Turner, you had 10. You know what I mean? And I get it. You're not like an offensive juggernaut like that to that degree, but you got a jump shot on you. You got a little athleticism. You know, you was dunking all over Milwaukee, so we know you got it in you. You just didn't show up. And so what I worry about in terms of them being legit is everything that you just said. They don't have a star player that gets them over the hump that says at this point in the game I'm taking over, other than Halliburton. But you said it yourself, when they cut the head off the snake, you know, the body will follow to a certain degree. So I'm not going to say they're as a package that they are legit. I'm going to say if the playoffs started today, Magic would have the best opportunity to be legit based on seeding and who's in the 7 through 10 bracket range. Equally, like you said, star player, star power, things of the such. In Indiana will be going against Philadelphia right now, and that series may go 6. I'm thinking more like a 4-1 split, if anything, but may go 6. Why? Because they got that star player. They got Maxey. You know, they got the guys that at the end of the day that's gonna say, like LeBron did what LeBron showed is that the better team with the better players will win at the end of the day. You know, youth is great. Getting up and down the floor is great. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to that player that wants to put the ball in the rim, that says, this is my game. I'm not losing to a team like this. The other thing I want to identify about the Magic, which is why I say they're not a package deal, because do we realize that the Magic are second in overall defensive rating in the entire league? I think behind the Minnesota Timberwolves. So this is where you get off my lawn. I know you're going to talk about me, but I understand that the 3-ball has revolutionized the game, but it gets to a point where they're number 2 in the Eastern Conference Finals because at some point they are defending. At some point they are stopping guys from shooting the basketball. And I get it. You can put the ball in the rim, but we've seen in several close matchups this year, sometimes the game takes one stop. Everybody could be getting off, could be shooting from 30 and things like that. But sometimes it comes down to one stop. And if I got to hang my hat on someone hitting a shot versus someone defending a shot, because of the percentages of someone hitting a game-winning shot versus the percentages of someone defending the shot, mostly because we're relying on the person to physically hit the shot. I'm going to go with the defensive side of the ball, depending on the team that it is. You know, if you got a LeBron who's taking the last shot or a KD, you know, it's a toss-up. But in the general sense, if we're down 2, I would rather be a team that's defending the guy that has to shoot the last shot versus the team that has to take the last shot out of the sake of, or out of the space of comfortability. And I got to go with a team like Orlando with the current seeding the way it is right now, because they're not only number 2 in the East, but they're number 2 in defensive rating. And so they're not a package deal for me.
Got you. So
I did my homework today. Can you tell? I did my homework today, man. Came ready for you today.
So
I mean,
we got
real quick though. My biggest, and I've always said this, man, like about star power, right? I love it. And when you brought it up last week about Golden State, one of the things that a lot of people didn't realize was while they were shooting all them threes and scoring all them points, they was a top 5 defensive team too, right? You do have to defend, but as I say about every sport, you can't win a game -2-0. Like, you got to put up some buckets. And like, for me, as well as Orlando defends, I can. I know in my mind who it is. The last team that won a championship, or the last team that we looked at, like serious contenders, that didn't have a guy on the team that you went, he can go out and score 30 at any given time, right? 25 to 30. Like, probably the 2014 Spurs, as you had the aging Duncan and the not so evolved Kawhi yet. And then you had the 2004 Pistons. Every other team that won a championship had a guy, right? 2006 Miami was Dwayne Wade.
What about Dallas?
Dirk.
Yeah, but he wasn't like a 30. He wasn't like a 30. He was nice.
He was their guy.
Okay.
He was their guy, right? Like, you know, in his prime, Dirk's a 25, 26 guy, right? Like, in his prime. Orlando has two guys giving you like 20 a night right now, right?
Yeah.
And I can't recall, especially in this era, right? A much more high scoring era. I think we probably got 7-8 guys averaging 30 right now, right? Like, and it's like
I counted earlier. You got 6, and
yeah,
Steph averaging like 29.4, which is like might as well say 7.
Right. So, I think you just have. I mean, it's tough, man, to not have a guy that you can just turn to that when everything goes wrong, right? The only guy not the only guy, some other guys, but the one guy that I always turn to in the history of the NBA that was good at that could take a game over without scoring, right, was Jason Kidd, right? If you don't have that, or you don't have a guy that just says, "Get up, like I got it," a Kobe, right? It's hard, like because you're gonna go into draft spells, like what happened to Indiana during the final game of the in-season tournament, right?
Yeah, so, but I don't know if they've run into another game where Obi Toppin is your second leading scorer in the starting lineup. I'm just saying, like that's a
but listen,
that's a rare occurrence.
No, but it's not as rare as you would think, right? Because you got Halliburton giving you 27 a night, and then you got Miles Turner at 17. Then they got like 3 or 4 other guys in double figures with Toppin at about 13.
Should be being mature now. However you said that, Maturin or whatever.
Yeah, he's somewhere in that 10-11 range, right? I think Toppin's the third leading scorer on the team. So him being the second leading scorer ain't a stretch, especially when Miles Turner hands was full all night. Did you see the play when LeBron was coaching from the side? And he told AD he a shot blocker. He like to jump. Put your shoulder in his chest. Put your shoulder in his chest. And then you saw him do exactly what he said. Like, man, Miles Turner was pulling his hair out last night, man. He wasn't worried about scoring. And then AD being an elite defender the way he is, like Miles Turner just had a bad matchup all the way around. So Obi Toppin being the second leading scorer wasn't, which again, that's why the nightmare matchup for them is Philly. That's a nightmare matchup for the Pacers.
Because Embiid gonna go crazy.
Oh my God. Right? So again, shout out to Orlando. They're winning games. Their plus minus is amazing. They're playing good on both ends of the floor. I just think when playoff basketball rolls around, you just need a guy, right? Like even Cleveland, when all else fails, we put the ball in Donovan Mitchell hands and do what you do. I don't know who that is in Orlando. I don't think they know who it is. They're just playing good team basketball and they're winning games right now. And I don't think when it matters, they're gonna be sitting at number 2 neither.
Okay. Yeah, so again, my answer was based on if
right now
is legit. Yeah.
I'm with you.
That's a good point because
Gotcha.
I'm looking at the fact that Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Boston, those guys are going to be top 3. So for them to win a series or even have a chance, it goes back to your point. They would have to get number 4, and it would have to be a convenient, maybe Cleveland at 5 or New York at 5 for didn't even have a chance.
And
any of those teams.
Here's what's crazy. I don't know if I would pick them against New York.
I would take Indiana against New York.
Not Indiana.
Oh, it's about Orlando. No, I'm not taking Orlando versus nobody.
I'm a huge proponent. Like, unless your team is just great, like if you think about the mid 2000s Pistons versus Cleveland with LeBron, right? I typically could say the team with the best player more often than not is going to win, right? When you got a team like that Detroit Pistons team, LeBron was better than all those guys, but together as a unit, they were just phenomenal, right? But in these teams we talking about, like if I'm Halliburton, like Orlando versus, I'm taking Halliburton just because it's him, right? And again, man, Orlando doesn't have anybody that scares me, right? Like New York, I don't know what happened come playoff time. Jalen Brunson turned into Allen Iverson or something, man. I don't like he get different in the playoffs. So